because what Isaiah submits is called submitting to God's sovereignty, where he says the Lord can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and they would not resist nor complain at all. Paul makes the same illustration in 1 Corinthians, where he says, can the clay ask the potter, why'd you make me this way? Of course not. They are subjected to what the master has made them to be. You know, when you look at pottery, you see truly some magnificent things through the hands of the potter. Some awesome vases or vase, sorry, I'm not fancy, vase, or cups. Some awesome things. Yet it would never happen if the clay resisted. But because the clay just lets the potter do whatever they want, voila, they make some beautiful products of art. In this case, we see a lot of beautiful things from a potter, where we see beautiful finished products in the hands of the Lord, where he has shaped and molded individuals. You know, we look at the Bible, we see a lot of fashioning from God being the ultimate potter and seeing the finished product of many men and women in his work. We can think of example, we could think of Abraham, how as he simply did what God told him to do, God molded him into becoming the father of faith. We also read the account of David, where there were times he did resisted what God wanted him to do. But when he resubmitted himself to what God wanted to do, we see the ultimate standard of a king who followed after God's own heart. We also can look in the New Testament and see God molding and shaping Peter, where he was a rough individual with a lot of cracks and chips. But as God molded and shaped him, we see him unfold in the book of Acts, where he is as mighty as a lion. All of this happened because these individuals were submissive to God's sovereignty. And that too will happen to anyone else. You know, sometimes we think we know what's best, but in the end, it can cause one to be short in what God had planned. All of this happened because these individuals trusted God to continue to shape and mold them. I like what Pastor Chuck Smith says, because he says naturally it's in our nature to go against God the potter. But when, and I quote, you know the potter, you know that whatever he wants to make of me is the best of me. Therefore, I have absolute confidence in God the potter. This evening, is God trying to shape and mold you? Is he trying to work out your weirdness? Is he trying to smooth out the sin in your life? Be compliable in the hands of the Father. He will make you into someone you never have imagined, only if you remain open to what he says in your life. Isaiah's submission is important because of what the remnant goes to say from the rest of the verses we have read. If we start from verse 9 all the way down, we see very clearly how the remnant asks God to restore everything they have lost after the judgment has happened. And they only understand that it's from God who could do this, but yet in the end, in verse 12, we see it's not with the most noblest, because in the end of their prayer, they give a question, so God, when are you going to act? To paraphrase what they go to say.